Hey everyone, Tom Seeley here, founder of New York Holistic Divorce, where I teach you how to divorce differently and prepare you for every part of your life after divorce so that you can move forward unattached, financially independent, and with as little emotional baggage as possible. Today, I want to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is one of the absolute most important and first things you can do when you're preparing to go through a divorce, whether you're going through a divorce. And by the way, it's also important even if you're not going through a divorce, okay? And this is called what I like to call forming your life panel. Okay, this is your board of directors. These are your closest advisors, whatever you want to call it. These are the people who are closest to you, who you can lean on in any moment. So, divorce in particular is one of the most stressful periods that anybody will go through in their lifetime. Therapists, whoever the experts are, say that divorce is second only to death of a loved one as far as the sort of extreme emotional trauma, if you will, that one person can go through. So it's absolutely critical that you have the right people in your network who can be there for you and be sounding boards for you or help you process whatever you're experiencing or feeling. And, this is a skill that a lot of people don't have. And I would give a special note to guys on here that this is especially important if you, and this could apply to women too, but this is especially important if you grew up believing that you were supposed to be tough, you're supposed to stick it out and you shouldn't be vulnerable and don't cry and those kinds of things. Okay, that's a sort of common masculine kind of way to feel. It doesn't mean that doesn't apply to women and men, but in my experience, this can be a harder skill for men because of that sort of cultural, societal, whatever it is, upbringing. So who goes on your life panel? It's by invitation only. That means you and only you get to choose who's on this panel, okay? A couple of things that I would recommend. I'd recommend you find the right friends, those who are emotionally supportive without being judgmental. You might need to find some new friends, but friends are absolutely critical. But you also want to have professionals on there, people who have particular expertise in dealing with, the different components you're going to go through. So I'd first make sure you have somebody who can support you with the emotional component, and that could be a therapist. That could be a life coach. It could be a religious or spiritual advisor, whoever it is in your life. If you don't have somebody, then you can ask friends. You can simply reach out to people blindly until you find somebody who really resonates with you, okay? Finally, well, I guess there's two more. A financial advisor, and maybe the other people that I've mentioned can help you with the finances, but you might want to have an accountant or a financial planner, somebody who can really help you understand what the financial impact of this is going to be and prepare you so that you're not surprised later and find yourself, wondering how you're going to afford your life, because divorce is expensive. Maintaining two separate households is more expensive than maintaining one. It just is, especially if you have kids. And finally, of course, you need a lawyer. You might work with a mediator. That would be fine. But you need somebody who can guide you through the legal process to make sure you understand what is happening. But that's who goes on your life panel, okay? One absolutely critical, important caveat that I can't say or emphasize enough ways, enough times, is never, ever, 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 never, ever include your children, Okay. Your children do not need to know all the details of your divorce. They don't need to know what your emotional response to the divorce is. They absolutely don't need to hear you talking about your spouse, soon to be ex, in a way that is anything other than positive or neutral. Your children are not going through a divorce. Your children are experiencing a redefinition of their family, and they're going to be now sleeping in 2 different households, most likely. Okay? Never include your children. All they need to know is that both of their parents love them. Both of their parents will always take care of them and support them. And the divorce has nothing to do with them. Okay. So, couple of warnings. Number 1, be prepared for disappointment with respect to some friends that you thought would be perfect for your life panel. I can't tell you why, but some people will treat you like you have an infectious disease that's contagious, and they won't want to talk to you for some reason. I don't know why, but remember, that's not your issue. That's their issue. Okay. They're the ones who are saying, I don't want to be a part of this. Okay. Respect that everybody has their emotions and is going through their own shit, and move on to the next person. Who knows? They might come back into your life later. You know, in my experience, I had some people who sort of disappeared on me, and I later learned they were having trouble with their marriage. And, you know, some of them resolved those issues and some of them didn't. So you just don't know. So anyway, that's warning number 1. Warning number 2 is sort of 2 parts. You may have to fend some people off. Okay. Some people will treat your divorce like a crusade, and they'll jump in and they'll want to give you this advice and that advice and this and that, and they'll tell you all sorts of things. And while that can be helpful to a degree, sometimes it interferes because they're treating this like it's their divorce, not yours. Okay. And it's important to make that distinction. So the second part of fending people off is watch out for energy vampires. Okay. There might be people who have relied on you in the past for emotional support, or who are also in a very difficult space. And you have to be careful and sort of judge whether, number 1, you have the strength to help these people, because you can't pour from an empty cup. And number 2, whether this is contributing and helping you move through, or whether it's hurting you. Sometimes there's strength in numbers. I mean, it's great to sort of commiserate with somebody, but be cautious of when it becomes a drain and it's draining you from what little reserves you have emotionally. So, last warning is you get to make the final decision. Okay, there's sometimes when people on your life panel have great ideas and great suggestions and are otherwise being supportive, but their input can somehow become a stumbling block to a common sense solution. Okay, a common example of this is, telling you that something is unfair and you should fight the other person when you don't really want to. You're comfortable with the decision the way it is. Now, of course, you don't want to agree to things that are patently unfair. If you're just avoiding something difficult, that can be helpful, but you have to sort of have some discernment there. You have to kind of be able to gauge whether somebody's suggestion is really in your best interest or not, because you get to make the final call. Okay. So that's it. That's your life panel. You always get to revise who's on the life panel. You might add people, you might take people away. As you go through life, that's always going to happen. And if you reflect back, you probably can see that, I was friends with these people for this period of time, but then I sort of drifted and became friends with these people. Totally normal. So that's your life panel. I'd love it if you would like this video, comment on it, tell me if it resonated with you, if there's anything you want to learn about this, and subscribe to my channel. And I can't wait to see you all soon.